Shalom, guys. Welcome back to my channel, Reformed Hebrew Ministries. Lately, I've been doing a study on the book of Revelation, and I'm going to continue that study of Revelation, but I have other topics that need to be discussed too. And for this study, I would like to study the Hebrew word Sheol with you guys, because Sheol is a very broad topic. It's a very deep topic. There's a lot of passages in Scripture that speak of Sheol. I would consider it a major doctrine. I think whether you consider it a salvation issue or not, I think that even most believers would consider it a major doctrine that should and must be understood. And it's a very large, drawn out, extended topic, because there's so many passages which speak of the place Sheol, and not a lot of people are aware of it. And there's a lot of division, a lot of different interpretations on it. And for this video, I'm just going to give you an overview of it. I don't want to get too in-depth with theology today. I will, if I'm going to get into theology with this, what I would like to do is I will look at each passage individually, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make separate videos after this, going through all the passages that are oftentimes argued for one way or another. And we're going to look at those, and we're going to see which view makes sense. I'm not going to go through all of them, because there's some passages you're not really going to be able to tell what Sheol is by them. The word's used, but you're not really going to be able to tell, because you're not going to be able to really pull theology out of them. But there are some, there's a lot, actually. There's a lot of passages where some people are going to say it means this, and they're going to use this passage to make their point. And then you have to understand both sides of the argument, because you never want to misrepresent someone's position. If you're going to misrepresent someone's position, you're either going to purposely live a lie, or you're just not going to understand it, and you're always going to miss out on what you could have known. So I'm going to go through those passages here after this video, and I would like to get some more up today. I don't know if that's going to happen, because my internet service is slow, but we'll see how that goes. I'll try my best to get a couple of them up today. And we're going to look at what Sheol is. For this video, I'm just going to give you the basics of it. Sheol is that's the word used in the Old Testament to describe where a person goes when they die. Now, it's used 64 times in the King James Version of the Bible. I think 31 of those times is mistranslated to hell. 30 of those times it's mistranslated to grave, and 3 times it's mistranslated to pit. Now, like I said, I don't know how deep I want to go into theology on that today. I would like to give you an overview of a couple of different beliefs out there, though, and then I'll make my case in other videos for which stance I hold to. Now, there's 2 real popular views, and there's a couple other views too, and it just depends on how deep you get into your study. When you start to study beyond Christianity and learn what they believed in Judaism, that's where the study gets a little bit deeper. As for the Christian views on it, you're going to have 2 main ones. You're going to have you have the main view is that when you die, we go to heaven, and we no longer go to Sheol anymore. And Sheol to them was a place in the Old Testament where everybody goes, where the Old Testament saints went, and where the wicked go, and the wicked still even go there to this day. They believe that, I'm going to try my best here, because I don't want to straw man anybody. I don't want to misrepresent their view. For the most part, they believe that when an Old Testament saint died, they died and they went to Sheol. And Sheol to them was some sort of disembodied spirit lounge, where they called paradise, where it was a blissful place of rest and comfort. And they believed that all the Old Testament saints went there until Christ died and went to Sheol for 3 days, and then brought those saints up to heaven. And they believed that the other side of Sheol is a place of torment for the wicked. Now, some believe that's called Gehenna. Some don't believe that's called Gehenna. They believe Gehenna is actually the lake of fire. So there's two different views on that from the eternal conscious torment camp. But they both believed it was a place of torment. And in a nutshell, that's how that view is held to. Their proof text for that comes in Luke 16, 19 through 31. The story of Lazarus and the rich man. Where we're told that there's a great gulf separated between the rich man and Lazarus. The rich man was in torment. You know, he said, I need a drop of water to cool my tongue. These flames are so hot. And then Lazarus was in a place of comfort called Abraham's bosom, or paradise. Luke 23, I forget what verse it is, but it talks about the thief on the cross, where Christ says, today you will see me in paradise. You know, and others, that passage is debatable too, where that comma should go, and depending on where you place that comma, you get a whole different meaning out of that text. But that's where they're getting that term Abraham's bosom. They believe is synonymous with paradise, because they believe that Christ said on that day he would be with the cross, or the thief on the cross, in paradise. So that's where they get that view that that paradise is synonymous with Abraham's bosom, and that's a compartment in Sheol. Now, those who hold to the soul sleep view, and soul sleep, it's just a term for it. It's not even a great term for it, but, because when you sleep, not all the time are you completely unconscious when you sleep. Sometimes people have dreams, so soul sleep might not be the best term used to describe it, but it's not a bad term. It gives you the basis of what they believe. They believe in an unconscious sleep. Now, you're going to see a lot of passages quoted from Ecclesiastes. You'll see passages quoted from Job, and they believe that when you die, you sleep in Sheol until the resurrection. You're not aware of anything. You're unconscious. You know nothing. And in a nutshell, that's all that view really holds to. Now, there's other views too, like those who hold to the Book of Enoch. They believe in 4 different compartments. And then when you get into Judaism, you're going to see some differing views on there too. During the intertestamental period, it was very common for some of the Hellenistic Jews to believe in the immortality of the soul. They believed in sort of like the Abraham's bosom theory. A lot of the Jews believe that when you die, you go through a 12-month purification process in Gehenna, where you're not literally physically tormented, but you're in a deep state of anguish and just emotional pain, emotional trauma. That view became popular, like I said, during the intertestamental period. Even during that time, though, you still had proponents of soul sleep during that time. And pre-Babylonian exile, you really don't see any of that. There's not really even many passages you could even somewhat make out immortality of the soul for. I know Numbers 16 is one that proponents of the immortality of the soul will put up for that. Deuteronomy 32. Those are some of the passages we'll examine in some of these next videos. But for the most part, you don't really see that. All throughout Genesis, you don't see any of that. And remember, Genesis is the first 2,000 years of human history for the most part. I mean, you got from Adam all the way up to Abraham. You got all the way to Noah, all through the flood, that entire patriarchal era. And you don't really see anything during those 2,000 years which would even speak anything close to what we would see as something affiliated with the doctrine of the immortality of the soul or anything like that. So that's kind of the best overview I could give you on this. I'm gonna make my case for I'm gonna make my case that the immortality of the soul is a false pagan doctrine. Now, I don't want you guys to feel condemned if you don't agree with me. And I'm never unopen to adjusting my views. I've just, in my studies with it, there's too many passages to me that are problematic. Now, there's a lot of passages that opponents of the immortality of the soul are going to find problematic, but in my studies, I've just found much more harmonious answers, going against the doctrine of the immortality of the soul than I do, holding on to it. It's difficult. It doesn't make sense to say, okay, you die. The Old Testament saints die, then they go to Sheol where they're in paradise, then they're brought up to another paradise. Then at the resurrection, they're cast down to earth, because remember, there is a resurrection. Then they're resurrected to meet Christ in the air, I guess again for the second time after he flings them down really quick, only to come conquer the earth. I mean, that's got to be the worst case of soul whiplash that you're ever going to see in your life, just being cast back and forth from hell from Sheol to heaven to earth, back to heaven to earth again. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't harmonize with what Scripture teaches. And like I said, I'm going to have questions to answer too, but I'll be able to answer those questions, and I won't have to hold to a confusing theology like that. It's very simple. I believe you sleep until the resurrection, and then you meet Christ, and that's it. Very simple. Hebrews 6 calls it elementary doctrine of Scripture. It's very simple. Opponents or proponents of the doctrine of the immortal soul will tell you that paradise is a compartment in Sheol, the underworld. And like I said, they'll say that that's Abraham's bosom. It's also called paradise. But Revelation 2:7 says the tree of life is in paradise. Why would the tree of life be in the underworld? That doesn't make any sense either. Paul talks about paradise being in the third heaven. And even the third heaven is a debatable passage, which I'll eventually get into. That's a tough one, because some people take that as like a biblical cosmology passage, where that's where they get their biblical cosmology from. And some people just see that as a chronological passage, like I see it. I see the third heaven as the age to come. So, I'll get into that one too. Those are just a couple of the errors I've seen to the doctrine of the immortal soul. I think that was the Fifth Lateran Council. I forget the year. I think it was late 1500s, maybe early 1600s, and I could be wrong about that. I'd have to double check the date. The Fifth Lateran Council, they saw opponents of the immortality of the soul as heretics. That was a Catholic council. That's where that's where Catholics get their beliefs from. They get it all from the church councils. And I know it's not a popular belief, but when you look at some of the inconsistencies to the doctrine of the immortal soul, then you factor in the fact that pretty much every pagan religion teaches it. Islam teaches it. The Babylonians taught it. The Egyptians taught it. The Egyptians had a weird view on it. The Greeks taught it. Plato taught it. It was Platonic. The Gnostics taught it. The Romans taught it. The Persians taught it. I mean, the shamans taught it. The list goes on and on. It's seen everywhere in paganism. And you factor that in with the inconsistencies, it's just not a biblical doctrine, in my opinion. Now, I'm always open to adjustment. You could always test my views, debate me on it. I don't care if I'm wrong about this. To me, the way I see it is, I would keep this video up and then I would expose myself, and I'd be like, hey man, I was wrong about this severely, but this is why I believed it. So go back and look at my videos and see why I believed it, so you could understand why other people believe it. And then then I would explain to them why I thought I was wrong. And maybe that would serve as a good testimony for the kingdom of God. But the thing is, I don't really think I'm wrong here. It's just there's so many inconsistencies here, and there's so many great answers once you really study this. Especially when you get to the New Testament, you get the Transfiguration. That's when I used to believe. I never had an answer for. I never thought I'd ever find an answer for that one. Absent with the body, present with the Lord. The thief on the cross. The parable of the rich man and Lazarus. These are all, there's many more too. These are all questions that can be answered. And in future videos, I'm going to do that. But I'm going to start with Sheol first. And we're going to get an Old Testament view on what Sheol is. And then I'm going to open up other teachings on this too, once we get into the New Testament. But let's get to the Hebraic foundation first. This is my overview of Sheol. And let's enjoy the study. So don't be discouraged or don't be scared away by this topic. You're able to understand it. I believe you are, anyways. I think when people take on some of these doctrines, it could be somewhat intimidating because they're very long, and sometimes it seems like it's never going to end. Sometimes I feel like people don't think they could even remember all these passages, and it feels like they never end. But you had to understand, although our God is an infinite God, the book He has given us is very finite. There is only a finite number of passages that are going to be used against your view, whatever your views are. You're going to be able to string together a series of rebuttals and put on a good debate. You're able to understand this. God's word never returns to Him void. So, like I said, don't be discouraged or threatened or scared away just because it's a long topic. Embrace it. It's a great topic. It's one of the most healing topics I've come across, just because it's kind of just showing me God's character a little bit more. You understand His character a little bit better when you understand this, when you kind of separate the paganism from the truth. So, I'll get started on that immediately. And if you guys want to ever debate me on this, I don't really think Instagram is a good. I don't really think YouTube's really a good debating platform. So you're probably not going to see me engage too much here on YouTube. But you can always find me on Instagram. It's my Instagram page is the THE _ second SECOND _ coming COMING _ 2. And I've posted. I've probably 100 posts on this. I've even made a second page for this. I've been teaching this for about 5 years now, and I have tons of stuff I could tag you to. It's just a little bit better of a debating platform, in my opinion. And if you want to find me there, feel free. I'll tag you anything you want to see if I don't have it posted up here yet, or I'll debate you on anything you want to debate me on. But it's just a little bit better of a debating platform there. So. Find me there, I'll tag you. And I've been debating that for years there, so, I have no problem debating this. This is, I guess I'll real quick end this video with a little testimony I have about Sheol. About 5 years ago, I started preaching Sheol, and it was very, very, very unpopular. It's becoming more popular now. I know 119 Ministries, literally, I think they're in this process of making a series of videos on this right now. And you're going to see this become more popular within Messianic and Hebrew roots camps. But even a lot of Protestants are starting to see this. You're starting to see this everywhere. And there were even some great reformers who preached soul sleep too. William Tyndale, one of the greatest reformers of all time, he preached soul sleep. And, a lot of people started to see some of the errors of Rome. When I started preaching it, I lost quite a bit of friends. A lot of people unfollow me. Not everybody. A lot of people unfollow me. A lot of the people who still follow my page at that time, they were upset about it. They didn't agree with me. They were still able to remain friends though. And just years of arguing and debates over this. I've lost some friends, but I've had a lot of friends come back. Don't be afraid to preach the truth. You're only going to build credibility for yourself in the long run. A lot of the people who unfollow me, and my ministry took a little bit of a hit there, a lot of them refollow me again, and a lot of they come back and they apologize and they're thankful that you preach the truth. And this was at a time when this was very unpopular. Now it's still not popular today, but it's not like it was 5-6 years ago. 5-6 years ago, if you said hell ain't real, and you talk about Sheol, people lost their minds. They would get furious. They don't even know how to respond. They get mad because it's different for everybody. But when you believe in hell, it's kind of hard to break free from that. I remember when I was studying Sheol, for the first 3 weeks, I felt like such a heretic. Like it made me physically ill. It made me sick in my head. And I remember laying in my room or sitting in my room like this, like there's no way this could be real. You know, hell to Christianity is like peanut butter to jelly, spaghetti to meatballs. It didn't even seem right that this could be such a lie. But right there in the Old Testament study alone, I'm like, wow, I'm sitting there thinking, where's hell at? There's no hell here. It's all Sheol. You know, it's all what Ecclesiastes says. It's a place of no knowledge. There's nothing in Sheol. It's just sleep, common grave. So you're gonna have probably, you know, some of your issues too, but stick with it. It's the truth. No one's gonna be able to debunk you. You know, and you're only going to build credibility for yourself. The way we've come so far in removing paganism from the church, just in the past 5 years. About 2 years ago, we had a wave of people come in, and I have seen huge just improvement. People coming to the truth that I've never thought I would see come to the truth, and it's just going to continue to grow. The fact that we have so many now out there teaching truth, this is only going to amplify and intensify and come faster now. We're not stragglers anymore. We're not, you know, just little cult people out there. No, people take us seriously. So, you know, I mean, do your study on this, and you know, I wish you the best on your conclusion. And if you feel like I'm in error, hey, tell me, and we could go back and forth about it all you want. But that's my stance on it right now, and I'm going to make my case for it. And I feel like I'm going to make a powerful case. There's a lot of questions that proponents of the immortality of the soul aren't going to be able to answer, and there are a lot of demonic undertones to the immortality of the soul too. You take away immortality of the soul, you no longer have some of these Catholic doctrines. You no longer have praying to the saints. They're all dead and in their grave. You take away the immortality of the soul, Catholicism is destroyed. The biggest errors of Catholicism are connected directly to this doctrine. You take away the immortality of the soul, all the necromancy is gone. People who think they could speak to ghosts. You realize that people are dead and sleeping and in their grave. That demonic necromantic doctrine, dead. You could blow us out of the water. You could destroy Babylon by destroying this doctrine. It is such a false, demonic, horrible doctrine. And in future videos, we're going to discuss it. Thanks for listening to me here today. I'm going to try and get some more videos up today. I'm going to get this up as soon as I can. And I hope you guys have a blessed day. Shalom.